We didn't give these guys a lot of information before they came in today, and they knew there was a group called Yeah. They really didn't know what that was going to be about. To see just the expressions on their faces when they first watched the animations was incredible, because you could see the shock and the surprise, and you could see the emotion.
So we're going to show you a film, and I'm not going to tell you what it's about yet, but you know I'm here from Yeah, and what Yeah does is they work to educate and engage students, because we want to be able to empower you. Because teaching each other about HIV and AIDS, it starts with you guys. So we really wanted to get your opinions on this. It's one thing for us to make this and think what's the best idea, but you're going to have the best thoughts.
Before the film, they were asked to complete a survey, and one of the questions was around, are you currently satisfied with the education you get in schools around HIV/AIDS? And he'd ticked satisfied, yes, quite happy. After watching the film, the first thing he came back and did was change that to dissatisfied. And when we asked him why, he said, because I've never ever heard of this before. I didn't know other young Australians lived with this disease. And to be quite honest, if one of my friends told me they had AIDS, I wouldn't want to be friends with them anymore.
It was actually a very good movie because we can relate to them because they're our age, and they were very honest and spoke about how they felt and what they thought. The girl at the end, I really liked her because the way she felt, and she was so honest about it.
3 of the first people, they all told somebody about the sickness, but the last person kept it inside. She thinks she might be judged. People might tease her, bullying. I think she's afraid.
I didn't realize what a catalyst this animation could be. I thought it would maybe supplement the kids' HIV, AIDS education they're receiving in school, but now I see that it's really there to open that discussion.
Our group discussions were a little scary, but mostly kind of surprising. So when our group talked about it so openly, so creatively, I was a little surprised in a very, very positive way. So what our guys spoke about was how they connected with the film in an emotional way before they connected with it in any kind of visual or auditory way, which I think is pretty powerful.
I don't know, for someone to be really young and go through that all by themselves is just pretty sad, and I just wonder how they feel, they've got such a big burden to carry by themselves, and it's just getting those all out. You can't exactly just tell every person that, well, hey, I have AIDS, or hey, I'm infected by HIV.
We drew some fantastic pictures. We had these little character cutouts, and people wrote down their thoughts and feelings on those cards, and some pretty interesting responses, lots of emotional responses about courage and hope and life, and also some negative ones about death and stigma and discrimination. What we also have done is gone out and visited schools, and we have encouraged budding artists, students, to create the front cover artwork for the DVD.
The teenagers here, they're insightful and they're caring, and they're really interested in what's going on, and they were really intrigued because they realized they didn't really know that what HIV or AIDS is. They don't realize that it's 2 separate things, or didn't know that someone could have AIDS and you wouldn't know it. One girl responded that if you have AIDS, you're sick and you have yellow skin. And it was just a shocking answer. Yet, you hear the answers like that, but they wanted to know more.
My group decided at one point that they had to stop me from having a discussion about the animations. And instead they said, can you explain to us what is HIV and what is AIDS, because we really don't get it. People were wondering, if you get HIV, do you get sick? Can you get rid of it? Didn't know babies can get it. Can't you tell by the way you look at somebody? So there were all these interesting ideas they've picked up along the way. So it was a good chance for us to get some of those out in the open and work out what's real and what's not.
1 or 2 of them very quickly alluded to the fact that nothing happens in their school at the moment, which was a bit of a shock to me when it's a compulsory thing. It's supposed to happen within public schools, at least in Australia. And having spoken to a number of teachers that were here today, them expressing concern that it's not on the agenda and that it should be, and they're not getting it. And in our group, and I'm sure in the other group, what came out was that there should be an organisation that does this type of work in schools. So it was nice to be able to say, you know what, you sit in the room with that organisation, they're called Yeah, and you need to get them in your school.
Youth Empowerment Against HIV/AIDS. Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah!